So I define health. Health is relative to each person. Each person has their own definition of health. So I support whatever that person's definition of health is. For me, health is, I'm to a level of functioning where I live with chronic pain from the arthritis. I've had one knee replaced and I'm going to have the other. Health to me is being able to move around, eat properly.
Before this class, I think I just thought that health, or everyone thought that health was a similar thing, and everyone defined it as somewhat similar. But as we interviewed these 4 people, I realized that everyone has such a different definition of health, and it's kind of based off of your experiences and obstacles that you overcome in life and how you're raised. And each person we've interviewed had such a different story, and I think that they focused on one aspect more than the other, even if they didn't really realize it.
Yeah, I think it's just really easy to compartmentalize health. I guess pick like certain definitions and put it into like the broader aspect of health, because then it's easier to find a balance that way. Like you can check off, okay, I'm physically healthy,
without
got
like
that.
integrating it.
Right.
So
I'm mentally healthy, and then spiritually or socially healthy. But then when you separate definitions, it's harder to like find the balance and like synthesize all of them.
yeah, I agree. And I guess like before this class started, I really just thought of health as like your physical and mental well-being. And I honestly didn't even really think of like your spiritual being as being a part of your health. I kind of just thought of it as like a separate, completely different thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I definitely agree. I thought of it as like super compartmentalized, not really integrating these aspects of health together. And so I think throughout this class I kind of realized that balance really is important, but everyone's definition of balance is going to be different, because we all think of health in different ways, and like different aspects of health are more important than other aspects. So for some, physical might be more important than mental. Or
early on, I think I met enough people who talked about interior well-being. You know, I went through Catholic schools and had really influential teachers, and so they would talk about self-awareness and awareness of the spiritual and relationship with God, and I think that laid down a big foundation for what I consider my own health to include. And as an artist, creative life is my, first nature, second nature.
The experiences you face throughout your life, to me, the way you deal with those experiences is what defines health for you. I think it's more of like what that person experiences and how they deal with like the adversities they face.
Yeah. I think anyone could think of themselves as healthy, but maybe another person would be like, oh, that person isn't healthy at all because they're not physically active or whatever.
And I think it's also defined by your habits and your daily activities and your job and what you do every day and what takes up your time.
Social health becomes super important in overcoming our struggles.
And I think it's also important to realize that our definition can evolve over time. Like, you could be more focused on the spiritual side of health, but then you hurt your knee or you get diagnosed with diabetes, and then you have to focus on the physical side. So it's something that evolves as you grow up.
Yeah. And maybe it doesn't even necessarily evolve, but you just like focus on the different parts of your own definitions.
I think it's all based on what you're experiencing at that moment in time and how you're dealing with the experience at that moment in time.
I think like trusting your gut and finding what you love, and whether that's your job, whether that's some really important relationship, some organization that you're really passionate about that maybe it's not your job but you get to be a part of. Whatever that community is finding that community, and just immerse yourself in it.
I think it's really subjective to the individual. It's what's tangible and like salient to them at the time. Like, we talk about a balance and having different aspects of health that affect an overall well-being, and like depending on your career choice or your interests, you're gonna have like more geared definitions. Like if you're in a like aspect of physical health with your life, like physical therapy or nursing or some type of medical program, you're gonna focus a lot on the physical aspects.
Well, like for us, we're both psych majors, so like mental health is something that's also really important, and I feel like, but you're also an athlete, so physical is also, but you just have to find that balance. And for some people that's a lot harder because of the kinds of things that are in their life that automatically gears them towards that.
Right. So yeah, I think things that have happened to you or that you've grown up with really do play a part in how you view health. Like
there is a body and mind connection, and like
it's all
one is going to affect the other. It goes in a circle.
Yeah, it really does. It's not a vicious cycle, but things affect each part. Like people who really connect with the spiritual side of things physically feel better. Like health is more of a feeling. It's like subjective to the individual. It's how you feel. If you are comfortable with the way you are and you feel better being really physically active, or you feel better really pushing into that spiritual connection that you have, then your overall health will feel better. But what looks healthy to you might not look healthy to someone else.
Well, and for some people, health just may be happiness.
Yeah.
If they're happy, then they're healthy, regardless if they're like the most fit person or only eat fruits and vegetables or whatever, because that isn't what makes them happy necessarily. Like health, I mean, it's kind of just like living your life the way you want to, and there can be no perfect definition for everybody because everybody has their own views. They've grown up in different cultures, and for somebody to try to make a definition that everybody has to follow, like that's not how it should be.
It's definitely a societal constraint. It's health is not cookie cutter.
No, it's not.
But it's about being a well-rounded person with my emotions and my social abilities and my spiritual self. And I think over the years I've kind of found that a little bit more and realized that if I'm not socially grounded, there's no way I'm going to be making good choices. That social side also, I think, fits in with my emotional side, where as long as I'm balanced there, this part is easy for me.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that our definition has evolved partly due to the interviews we've done, right?
Yeah.
So
I guess I never realized like how much our community at Regis like has a lot of the same like spiritual values, and like people are drawn to Regis because of like the values here and the way that we see the world. And it's really, really impactful to see that like our Jesuit values, like men and women and the service of others, has just attracted so much so many great people to our university.
And like I never realized how many people are like super thankful to have the ideal that we have here of caring for the whole person. This is just Regis, so like imagine like outside of our community, the definitions that we could get.
How much different it would be.
And I think it's also interesting, like each person we've interviewed has so many experiences that shape them into who they are. And you know, I had no idea who any of them were before we interviewed them, but like there's so many people have so many different experiences, like, and you don't know their story. You walk by them every day and you don't know what they've gone through and what they do and their experiences.
And just like taking that hour to talk to them, I feel like we
you learn a lot.
I think health is super hard to define because it is based on everyone's individual experiences. But going back to the Jesuit values, if you want to define health, I really think it is like cura personalis and caring for the whole the whole entire person.
For me, the advice would be learn and work through your issues. Don't go around them, don't work through them. Take your issues head on and address them. You're going to be burning karma when you're in this life. So face it head on and learn the life lesson, because it will keep coming back until you learn that life lesson. Learn it the first time it comes up.